going to show you today's music, today's soundtrack. It is Keith Jarrett live at the Deer Head Inn with Gary Peacock and Paul Motion. Gary Peacock on bass, Paul Motion on drums. One of the greatest. Can you see it? There you go. One of the greatest jazz albums of all time, I think. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this over the years. Thousands and thousands of times. Check it out. Keith Jarrett at the Deer Head Inn. So, how have you been doing? Things have been pretty good over here after a crazy week last week with Black Friday. Many of you guys actually have got in touch to say you enjoyed all the emails I sent out, which was good. I know there was a lot, but I tried to make them interesting. If you did receive my Black Friday emails every day, I tried to send out something interesting on different topics. I sent out one about my language learning manifesto, because we're in election season here in the UK, and Chris on the team here at I Will Teach You a Language says you really enjoyed the election manifesto email. Cara on the team said she liked the email about about Uber getting kicked out of London. What does all this have to do with languages? Well, you'll have to join up to my email list to see. If you're not on the email list, head over to iwillteachyoualanguage.com and you will find a place to sign up to the email list. Now, today, a question from Kausalya, who was on the podcast recently, on the I Will Teach You a Language podcast. And Kausalya is asking a question in the Fluency Mastermind Facebook group. Ollie Richards' Fluency Mastermind Facebook group, where most of you will probably be watching this anyway, so you don't need any reminding about that. Now, Kausalya says that she's been learning Turkish for over a year and has been studying a lot. It's quite a long... I'll summarise it because it's quite a long question. She's been learning for a year very consistently, 1 hour studying a day, most days of the week. So right now she's doing lots of reading and listening. She's also writing, listening to podcasts, vocabulary videos. She's been really working her little socks off. That much is clear. And it's working really well for her. But despite this process and seeing progress, I constantly feel like I could have done more. And it's exhausting her. And so before she's learnt 5 years of Spanish, but now, I'm not quite sure about this, but I think what she's saying is she's learnt 5 years of Spanish, but now she's like kind of hitting up against this intermediate plateau and thinking, what do I have to do in order to actually get somewhere with this? So, a few people on the chat. Hi, Mohammed. Hi, Vadim, Roman, Mac Powers. If that's your real name, then massive respect. So, Kausalya, you've been learning Turkish. You're up to an intermediate level, but now you are kind of thinking about, well, how much longer do I have to keep doing this? Because I'm working really hard and I'm not really getting anywhere. It's frustrating, right? So, you are running up against what is known in the trade as the intermediate plateau, and you've probably heard me talk about this before. It's like, at the beginning of learning a language, you're super high, you've got lots of make loads of progress, you seem to be learning lots of stuff all the time. Excuse me. But then you kind of go into this huge dip, like you're kind of walking through the Grand Canyon endlessly, and it feels like you're never getting to the end. And then you start to come up the other end, and it's like, I can't do this. And so this is the intermediate plateau, and the reason it happens is because you've learnt all the main concepts in the language. You know the most important words. You can say most things that you need to. You can understand the key stuff. And then beyond the intermediate level, what happens is that you've got a real lot of stuff to learn. You've got the whole vast expanse of the language to learn, right? And you can learn a lot of stuff, and it doesn't actually make that much tangible difference to your ability to express yourself in the language. Morning, Jorge. I don't know if it's Jorge or Georgie, but I'm guessing it's Georgie Pinto. Good morning. And so when people get to this intermediate plateau, that is when they think to themselves, right, okay, something is not working here. And in fact, the reason that I've created a lot of my story-based intermediate courses is for exactly that reason, because you've got to be doing more and more and more and more, right? So, what would I recommend you do? Well, Kausalya, it just so happens that you're doing all the right stuff because you're reading and listening a lot, which is exactly what you need to do at intermediate level. And so there's a few things I think I'd say. First of all, you're in this for the long haul, right? And at the intermediate plateau, you're not going to find one trick which you suddenly do and then suddenly you're fluent. It doesn't work like that. You've got to take a real long-term view over this. And so for that reason, it's really important that you start to do stuff that you're super interested in, right? So the more that you can orientate your reading and listening towards things that you really enjoy, the better. So what is it that you enjoy? Do you enjoy reading about the history of India? Do you enjoy reading about Turkish politics? I don't know. Whatever it is, just try to kind of make that Turkish reading and listening part of your life on things that you're interested in, just like you would in your mother tongue, right? Second thing is, I would start to just do something totally different for a while. So if you've been studying really hard, you need to give yourself a break. One of the things that's not often discussed in language learning is actually taking breaks is just as important as the study. And I've written blog posts about this before where I've talked about taking months off learning a language and it actually being exactly what I needed to do, because your brain will keep processing information when you're resting. So right now you've got a year's worth of stuff in your head, right? And your brain is just chock full of stuff in Turkish. And there comes a point where you can't fit anything else in. You've got to process it on a slightly deeper level. So you might find that just walking away for a month would actually be really beneficial for you. But you seem like the kind of person who's not going to want to walk away for a month. So instead, try doing something totally different. So if you're doing a lot of reading and listening, stop that. Just do tons and tons of speaking. Maybe you could take a little trip to Turkey, something like that. Or maybe you could do something like start to do a bunch of writing, start to journal in Turkish. Try and find some meetups in the place that you are. Try and do something totally different so that you're kind of forcing your brain to process the language in a different way. That often, kind of shaking things up, is often the real key. It's just like in the gym, In the gym, you've got to have rest days. So like right today, I've just been to the gym 5 days in a row, and I'm kind of achy and feel like my body's been a bit beaten up. The most important thing now is that I take 2 days off. So I just rest, my body can recover. Similarly, if you've been doing the same kind of exercise routine for ages, the best thing you can do is just shake things up, do something different. Same goes for languages, right? So I hope that helps give you a few ideas for things to do. It's not just all about study. We've got to kind of give ourselves lots of variety. So thanks for that question. If you guys want to ask me questions, then just go right ahead. You can leave comments on my YouTube videos and my Fluency Mastermind Facebook group, which you can search for if you're not in that, Ollie Richards Fluency Mastermind. Rasmus has a question here regarding your stories. Will you have short stories for Icelandic only for beginners, or will there be intermediate and advanced stories as well? Icelandic. Yes, so we're coming out with Icelandic short stories in Icelandic for beginners. Let me show you if I can pull this up here for you so you can so I can show you this. I don't know if we've got the cover. I'm not sure if the cover is out yet, because we have so many books coming out. I am actually starting to get a bit confused with all the different things that are going on. So Icelandic, yes, we do. We have the cover right. I'm going to if I can share my. Let's see if I can get this right. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, I've got to give my computer the preferences. Oh, that's silly. Okay, it's working. Right, so what am I going to do? Bear with me, guys. Got to figure out how to share this. Oh, it's got. How irritating. Maybe this isn't going to work. I'm not sure this is going to work. Anyway, no, it's not going to work. Never mind. I'll have to do this on a separate one. If you want to go to Amazon and search for short stories in Icelandic, then you'll find it. Will we be coming out with intermediate and advanced stories in Icelandic? Great question. I'll be honest, not in the immediate future. We've just released books in new intermediate books in French. Not French. I misspoke. In Italian, English, and Spanish. The new editions of the intermediate books, and there are more on the way. But for now, Icelandic is just the beginner level, I'm afraid, and the reason is that it's a new language. We don't know how it's going to perform. I'm sure if it's super popular, then it will. Then we will go on to develop intermediate. But it's just one of those things. We can't do every language at every level. So, all right, what do we have here? Some comments from you guys. Kim says, "What's fired my study with French is following the Gilets jaunes situation." Yeah, from all sides through the language. Right, so in France at the moment, you've got the Yellow Jacket protests, and Kim's obviously interested in this. Perhaps Kim lives in France, I don't know. If I find something in Turkey, there's tons of stuff going on in the news, mostly not very nice stuff, but if you're interested in that, you can follow along that stuff in Turkish, and that gives you a really good reason to learn, And Days of French and Swedish says, "I completely agree that breaks and even longer breaks can be ridiculously beneficial." Indeed, ridiculously beneficial. I quite agree. He or she also says, "The fact that you're doing them in Icelandic at all is incredible." Man, I'd love to learn it. Well, go right ahead. The book, you can find it on Amazon right now. I also really like the cover. I think, don't you think that you may not agree, but I think that the covers for these new editions are just fantastic, and I'm in awe at the quality of the designer that we have for this. I really want to see if I can show you the cover, but it's just not working. This software keeps sort of reinstalling itself. It's so irritating. Okay, no, next time. It's gonna be next time. Sorry, guys. All right, then that's it for now. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that was helpful for those of you at the intermediate level in a language. Signing off. Adios.